of damaged psyche going on to a Monday night football game against a team that they need to beat because Tampa Bay is inferior to them. But in my bold predictions from earlier in the segment, in the show, I predicted that the Buccaneers would beat them for this reason. There are certain things that are very tough to overcome when it comes to playing the NFL. And psychological issues like that and undertones of this nature can have an impact and play on guys' heads and play on their minds and make them do things they wouldn't do. I think Miami's going to go out there and try too hard tonight, on this Monday night, I should say. But my theory is this, is that Richie Incognito has a historical pattern of being the way that he is. It was perceived to be by Jonathan Martin and the people who don't like him. But I was watching, the news the other night, and I was listening to what former Miami Dolphins offensive lineman Lyndon Murtha had to say. And I'm going to read what he said. He said, I played with offensive tackle for the Dolphins from 2009 to 2012 preseason, and I was released obviously with injury. But I went to college in Nebraska with Richie Incognito, and I consider myself friends with him and Jonathan Martin. Whenever Martin was drafted in 2012, he did not seem to be one of the part of the groups. He was standoffish and was very shy. He was puzzled for a football player on this level with a team of grown-ass men. They were concerned why he wouldn't open up with us. He balked the idea of paying for rookie dinner. For example, I paid $9,600 for one my rookie year. I don't know if Martin ended up paying for one. Incognito took him under his wing, and they were good friends by all appearances. Martin had a tendency to tank when things would get tough in practice, and Incognito would lift him up. He would say there's always tomorrow, and Richie has been more kind to Martin than any other player. When Martin wasn't showing effort, Richie would give him a lot of crap. My first point, I don't believe Richie bullied Jonathan Martin. I never saw Martin singled out, excluded from anything, or treated any differently than the rest of us. He was never told he could never be a part of our group. It was the exact opposite. But when he came out, he was very standoffish. That's why the coaches told us, the leaders, to bring him out his shell and figure him out a little bit. Then Incognito would start to run his mouth. Personally, I know when a guy can't handle razzing. You can tell that some guys just aren't built for it. Incognito doesn't have that filter. He was the jokester, and he jokes with everybody from players to coaches. That voicemail he sent came from a place of humor, but he really struggles when he used the you-know-what word. I cannot condone, and it's probably the biggest reason he's not with the team right now. Odd thing is, I've heard Incognito call Martin the same thing to his face in meetings, and all Martin did was laugh. And I'm going to stop there and just basically talk about what I'm feeling is that, again, I've always said there are certain words that you do not say to certain people because you try to be as classy and as unoffensive as you possibly can be. Because when you have situations like this that arise, when people say stupid stuff and get in trouble, they go, oh, what happened? What happened? This is what happens. Now, I understand trying to toughen up your teammates and make them built for the long haul. If your group project is to try to do some, you have to have everybody buying in and be a member of the group. So I kind of get where Richie was in terms of toughing him up. I just think that his methods were incredibly out of line. You're supposed to beat on them as players, not make fun of them due to their, ethnicity, and treat them like men and treat them as your equal. And Richie Incognito failed at that. But ultimately, I think Jonathan Martin failed in terms of how he's handled this situation. He has done an absolutely horrible job at maintaining himself. He has been incredibly, incredibly stubborn for an NFL player. And honestly, I don't think that Jonathan Martin's ever going to play another down for the Miami Dolphins. I don't think he will, and I think Incognito will play it down before he will. All right, that does it for my sports show today. I'm going to be wrapping up at this moment. I'm not going to be playing another song. I hope everybody enjoyed it, and I'll be back on Monday, same time as always. See ya.